fund a fighter for liberty. Dr. Broune, great to have you, sir.
John, it's great and a blessing to be back with you. It's been a while, and I'm just honored to be back on your program.
Well, I had to have a stiff drink the night you got beat in the Georgia primary running for Senate. I had to have 3 fingers of Kentucky bourbon just to cry in my beer. So anyway, we were hoping that you would win. I know that was a tough race. And had you been in the Senate right now, I know you'd be jumping up and down saying, why don't we have this ridiculous 60-vote cloture rule, right?
Well, John, the thing is, we've got to start doing something to stop this president and his failed policies. We've got to repeal Obamacare as a good example, and unfortunately, the leadership in the House nor the Senate really have put much effort forward to doing so. I would not have voted for Mitch McConnell to be the leader in the Senate. If I'd been elected, I would have been very vocal on the Syrian refugee issue, and that's something that I think all Americans ought to get their dander up, actually their ire up. I'm just not only perplexed, I'm just angry with this president because he's putting Americans at risk for bringing these Syrian refugees. ISIS has already said that they have 4,000 of their fighters that have infiltrated the refugees that are going into Europe. And President Obama wants to bring them here. He talks about it being women and children. Well, we've already seen that women blow themselves up in Paris, as an example. We've already seen that ISIS and Al-Qaeda will sacrifice children for their own cause. We've got to stop this Syrian refugee program, and it's up to the American people to do so.
Well, how do we stop it? I mean, we had Chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, Bob Goodlatte, on our show at the 8 o'clock hour. Normally, the chairman is pretty reserved, right? You've met him and dealt with him many times. He's pretty guarded, but he was kind of upset by this whole thing. And he said, "Look, at the end of the day, he said it's going nowhere in the Senate. They're not even going to debate the thing. They're not going to get through the 60-vote cloture rule. He can't understand why McConnell doesn't just get rid of it." But he said, "Look, the only alternative is we defund it." And coming from Chairman Goodlatte, who's pretty guarded, as you know, in what he says, I was taken aback by that. And it made me think, well, maybe now the Republicans are really going to act on this.
Well, I hope so. I'm not as defeatist as Bob Goodlatte is on the Senate, because I think if we can get the American citizens all over this country to call, write, email, or visit their U.S. senators' offices and just say, if you don't vote to take this action to stop these ISIS fighters from coming into this country, we're not going to reelect you. We're going to find somebody else that's going to take you out, and you're not going to be in the Senate anymore. It's absolutely critical for the American people to call their U.S. senator, to go visit them, send them emails, or what have you, and demand a vote. And then demand that they vote to stop this president's programs. This president told us when he was running years ago, initially, that he wanted to radically change America, and he's been doing so. And I'll tell you, the greatest function of the federal government under the Constitution is national security. This is a national security issue. We've got to stop this president's program. He is going to bring these refugees. He's already brought about 2,000 or more into this country. The American people need to stand up, talk to your Democrat senator, talk to your Republican senator, talk to your conservative senator, talk to your liberal senator, say no to this refugee program. We're going to see I think we're going to see blood in the streets of America, possibly from these refugees, if we don't stop it. And it's up to the American people to demand that it be stopped.
Well, look, the Obama administration, Secretary of State John Kerry, Hillary Clinton, and other Democrats, including Senator Tim Kaine from Virginia, Dr. Broune, who I had on my show the other day, said, look, the vetting process is as secure as anything we have. Nobody's going to get in. They're well documented. They go through a very secure process. They're orphans and widows. This is all to do about nothing. It's Muslim baiting, blah, blah, blah. How do you respond to that?
BS. It's just a bunch of bull hockey when they say that. There's no way that they can know who these people are. mean, a lot of these people have no birth certificate. A lot of the people who are born in these countries in the Middle East really have no documentation. There is no way whatsoever that these people can be vetted. We already know when we have folks who are put forward and our officials are warned, just like they were about the Boston bombers, that this one person anyway, one of the Boston bombers, the brother that was killed, is a threat. And our federal government, our FBI, our CIA, our State Department let him come and go, did not follow him. We already knew that he was a problem. How are we going to vet people out of Syria that there is no way to vet these folks? And it's just got to stop. There's no way that we can know that any of these refugees, men or women, no matter what their age is, aren't people who want to do us harm as a nation. We've got to stop it. And the only way to stop it, we have governors saying that we're not going to let them into our states. My own governor, Governor Nate Padilla, has said that here in Georgia. But there's no way for the governors to stop the folks from being brought in by these non-governmental organizations unless we put up barriers on our state roads and stop people from coming in. That's just not going to happen. The governors can't stop it. The only way we can stop it is the House and the Senate are going to have to tell the president no, and that is going to happen only when the American people stand up and tell their senators and their congressmen, we don't even care about whether he vetoes it or not. You vote to stop this refugee resettlement program in this country, or we're going to throw you out of office and find somebody else to take your place because you are a threat. If you vote to continue this refugee program, you are a security threat to this nation. We do not want you in office. Be gone is what people have to tell these folks. Mm-hmm. And it has to be a threatening type of situation where people call and say, this has to stop, and it has to stop now.
Well, it's going to be interesting because I think American people are going to be outraged if it can't even get to a debate on the floor of the Senate. Harry Reid has already said he's going to stop it. And look, Reid is going. He doesn't care what anybody says. You can call his office a million times. He's going to flip you the New Jersey bird. He's out of there. And so, look, at the end of the day, you're either going to have to override the veto, which is going to be hard to do, or you're going to have to defund it. Otherwise, it's just a lot of talk. But I think the first thing you got to do is get on the phone. And my opinion is the only way you're going to stop these influx of refugees is doing what Bob Goodlatte said, which is going to defund it, because you'll never get 2/3 of these senators to override Obama's veto. That's just my opinion. And you know what? Opinions are like, you know what? Everybody's got one. All right, Doc, let's go to your National Tea Party Fund. You guys are trying to get conservatives in office. Big opportunity now in Louisiana, right?
We do. David Vitter, U.S. Senator, just after he lost the gubernatorial race, he announced he was not going to run for re-election in Louisiana. But what the Tea Party Leadership Fund is all about is to try to get the funding to good, solid, conservative, constitutional, limited government candidates for the U.S. House as well as the U.S. Senate. The website is teapartyleadershipfund.com, teapartyleadershipfund.com. And the purpose is to try to get enough money to the folks like me who are going to not be pandering to the special interests, who are going to truly fight for limited government, who believe in the Constitution as our founding fathers meant for it to be. We're asking people to go on that website, teapartyleadershipfund.com. Vote for who you think is going to be the best president. We also are going to be supporting candidates around the country, not only to challenge Democrats, but even to challenge Rhino Republicans, because we've got to get some good, solid conservatives in the U.S. House as well as the U.S. Senate so we can turn things around. It doesn't matter who gets to be president. If we don't have a solid conservative majority in the House and the Senate, we're going to continue down this road of big government, more spending, and a debt that's just totally unsustainable. And so that's what we're doing, TeaPartyLeadershipFund.com, and help us contribute. We're fighting for liberty. We've got to get some good, solid conservatives elected, and that's what we're all about.
Well, look, that's what you got to do. And you look at Louisiana right now. You got two great conservatives, Congressman John Fleming, one of them in Louisiana, Republican, part of the Freedom Caucus, and a fellow that I met, had on my show along with John Fleming many times, Rob Maness, ran for Senate, I believe, in 2014 also. So you got some solid conservatives there. But look, you got to get involved. And if we're going to get change, we got to change the people in there. Just like Obama is trying to change the makeup of the country to get the electoral outcome that he's looking for. If you want change, you're going to have to change the people that are in Congress right now. We're out of time. We want to wish Dr. Paul Broune, new spokesperson for the National Tea Party organization, a happy Thanksgiving with him and his lovely wife and his family. Dr. Broune, great to have you back, man.
Great being back. TeaPartyLeadershipFund.com. Come and help us to retake America for conservative constitutional government. TeaPartyLeadershipFund.com.
All right, we're out of time.